Hi, sixth grade clarinet players. It's Mr. Y, obviously. I'm going to walk you through the finals for this year. The sixth grade finals in the EE book are number 55, which is called, hang on, Essential Elements Quiz. Number 67, which is Scale Study, new note, the high B flat. Number 74, Essential Elements Quiz again. And number 107, which is the chromatic scale. Okay. I think I'm going to do these in the order in which I think they're the easiest to hardest. Just because I think that's probably the way you're going to want to practice them too. As you develop the skills in the earlier ones, they're going to add to the success you have in the harder ones. So let's start with Essential Elements Quiz number 55. I think that one's the easiest one, and then 107, the chromatic scale, is actually the next easiest one. So we'll go there after this. But for right now, 55. Really, the most important thing you have to worry about here, obviously, you've got notes to worry about, and the 16th notes, the rhythms, but also getting a really good tongue. There's not a single slur in this whole song. So you got to really make sure your tongue's being used. Make sure you use lots of air in your tongue, and also just use the tip of your tongue. If you do t t t t t as opposed to tha 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 tha, that's really going to help a lot. Okay. No sharps, no flats in this one. It's pretty easy. It's forte all the way through. There are a couple of accents, so those particular notes you're going to play a little bit louder, of course, the accented notes. There's a couple at the end of the first line, and it looks like 3 in the entire second line. So I'll go from there. Starts on a C. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I almost missed a note there. I don't have my glasses on today. Remember, those accented those accented notes are just a little bit louder. Remember, also in all these finals, you can do them as fast or slow as you want to, as long as they're nice and steady. So you could go slower if you wanted to, or faster, I suppose, if you wanted to. Skipping over to 107, I think this is the next easiest one. Chromatic scale, remember, is just like if you went to the piano and you played all the white keys and the black keys. It plays all the notes. In this particular case, it's written in sharps on the way back up and in flats on the way back down. Remember, each note has 2 different names, a sharp name and a flat name. So really, it's the same notes coming down as going up. It's just a matter of learning which notes are which. There's a little diagram above the 107 in the book, of course, if you want to review that. There is also one chromatic fingering on the F sharp going up. If you would like to, now I'm not requiring this as part of the quiz, but if you'd like to, you can use the chromatic fingering. For the F sharp, of course, what you usually do is you play with just your first finger here, not your thumb key on the back. But for the chromatic fingering, if you'd like to, you can leave your thumb key on the back just like F natural and add these 2 side keys, the bottom 2 side keys over here, not the bottom one for E flat, but both of them at once. Kind of hit it with that part of your finger. Again, you can if you want to, you don't have to. You could just go F sharp. In this case, it's not really, it doesn't make a big difference. Sometimes it will make a big difference going from F to F sharp. For instance, if you had to slur from an F natural to an F sharp, it's going to be a lot easier to do this than it is to do this and make it a nice clean slur. But like I said, you can do it this time if you want to. You don't have to. It's up to you. Other notes that maybe you have to worry about, remember, you got C. C sharp is this key right here. D. D sharp is the same as E flat. Okay. Then you have E natural, of course. F sharp if you're going to use that one, or if you want to use the chromatic one, that's fine too. After that's G, after that's G sharp, and then A. A sharp, remember, is the same as B flat. It's the pincher B flat, as some people like to say. Then we have B natural. Remember, B natural is all 6 of your big fingers plus your thumb key, plus you can use either the taller of the 2 keys over here, or you can use the bottom side key over here. It's up to you, either way. I like to play the B natural here, and then I can play the C natural, the next one, this bottom center pinky key. I like to do it in both 2 different hands, because then you can go from one hand to the other. You don't have to worry about moving a hand between notes. You can set up for the B here and then the C here, and that works a lot easier. Okay, so and then coming back down, it's just the opposite. You have C, and then B natural, and then it goes to B flat and A flat, etc., all the way down. Same notes as you just had. Again, they're called in flats, flat names on the way down, but they're the same notes as the sharp names going up. Okay, 107. The bell went off in the middle of the song. I don't know if you heard that. Okay, so that's 107. Moving back to 67, I think that's our next one. We do have to worry about a couple of notes in the key signature here. You've got a B flat and an E flat in the key signature, so be careful. Remember, a low B flat, or medium B flat, I guess in this case, is going to be this one. Then you have the high C that we just did in the other scale. High D, remember, is just 6 fingers on the front, no pinkies. But you do have your 6 big fingers on the front, plus your thumb key in the back, of course. Okay, so that's D. For E flat, remember, there is no choice for the E flat on your left hand. You can't play it over there. It's the only note like that on the clarinet, really. The E flat has to be played right here, your top center pinky key, not the top side, but the top center pinky key right here. So after the D, you're just going to add this finger to go to E flat. Okay. Then we have F, of course, which is 3 fingers plus 1, and G, and A. And then the high B flat is you keep those 2 A fingers down, but you do add your side key over here. It's exactly like the low E flat, except that now when you're using your thumb key, you get the high B flat. For all these high notes, you want to have a nice strong reed. Probably a number 3 reed is what you want to have here, as long as you're used to it. If you're not used to it, a 2.5 will work sometimes, but it should be a nice strong 2.5. And you also have to have nice strong lips here too. Play these notes a little bit every day to get used to it. It's a muscle thing. You don't think about these as muscles, but they are. And if they're not in shape, you're not going to be able to do it. Okay, so you got to have that nice firm embouchure on there. Okay, so number 67. Okay, that wasn't good. Let me try that again. I think I had a little spit in my clarinet reed there. I'm sorry. Just a minute. Let me try it again. So there are quite a few high notes here. You're going to have to really be good at high notes. If you want to go back and practice from earlier this year, those things called jumping jacks, that's a really good way to practice your high notes. Remember, that's where you start out on a nice long low note, and then you tip your thumb key to get up to the high note. So, or you can even go up to the high G there, the medium G, and then the really high C, if you want. Okay, and last but not least on the quizzes, we have Essential Elements quiz number 74. This one probably is the hardest one. I think you have the same key signature though, 67. It's still the B flat and E flat, so it's still those same notes we just played. There are some slurs in here. There are a few rests, and the rhythm is a little more difficult, of course. There is one dynamic change where you go from forte on the first line to mezzo piano on the second line, way down low. And then in the last measure of the second line, you crescendo back up before you DC al fine. Remember, DC al fine takes you back to the beginning of the song, and then you play until the fine, which is the end of the line. So basically, you're playing the first line, the second line, and then the first line again. Okay, other than that, not too much to worry about here, really, I guess. You want to practice this slowly, do a couple of notes at a time, really put it together like a puzzle, and build up to little pieces, and then gradually you're going to put the whole thing together. Okay, so 74. not bad. I think I'd probably give myself about a 19 on that one. I messed up a couple little places. The note didn't sound quite right on the mezzo piano when I first started to play it. I tried to go too low, I think, is what happened, and the note didn't really sound. So probably what I should have done is started just a little bit more forte. So then when I got to the mezzo piano, I could have gone down, but still had some, good air to play sound there. And then I had one little finger flip thingy there too. That happened toward the end. But other than that, it was pretty good. If you have any questions on these, of course, feel free to email me or see me in class, and I'll be glad to answer them. Good luck.